heard that wind here for the 15 years we lived here, but didn't expect to see what I saw when I looked out my back window.
Strong winds ripped through the inland northwest this morning, causing power outages and extensive damage.
Winds were strong today, gust over 50 miles per hour in Spokane, but things will be calming down for the second half of your weekend.
New developments tonight in the body found in a burning car on Spokane's South Hill. Police made an arrest. Now they're searching for a motive. Good evening. It's good to have you here with us tonight. I'm Tim Pham. Tonight's big story is an update on Spokane's South Hill. Police arrested a man in connection with a woman's body found in a burning car near Thornton Murphy Park on the South Hill. Yasser Daraji was arrested on first-degree murder charges Friday night. He is booked at the Spokane County Jail. Investigators say they are still in the process of executing search warrants. A motive has not yet been released. The weather is our other big story of the night. You've probably heard those gusty winds all day. It got so bad in the last 24 hours that it left many without power and forced others to clean up streets that were covered with debris. KREM 2's Brandon Jones found out what one neighborhood in Post Falls was doing to clean up that big mess.
Last time I checked, winds were at 30 miles per hour, and as you can take a look around, you see how much of an impact those strong winds have had on neighborhoods like the one I'm currently standing in right now. The sound of wood chippers rang through this Post Falls neighborhood for hours as crews worked to remove all of the fallen debris.
How many trees I saw and how many homes and how many cars that were crushed, it's like nothing I've ever seen.
For homeowners like Kevin Dean, listening to the sound the wind makes outside of his house has become familiar, but the results of a tree leaning on his home is something that caught him off guard. There hasn't been any portions of this neighborhood that have been spared. Neighbors have told me they've never seen anything like it before.
It just shifted total sideways from the wind.
All Season Tree Service was one of the crews cleaning up the mess, and they told me it's all about safety when they approach these kind of issues. For example, the tree on Kevin's house was so large they had to rope up each limb they cut and lower it down slowly to avoid any mistakes.
There's hundreds of people affected right now, trees on so many houses, so I feel lucky it's minimal on mine, but still going to be a pretty major repair.
Thankfully, Kevin and his family noticed the tree leaning and were able to get out before any damage ensued. From Post Falls, Brandon Jones, KREM 2 News.
Well, here's more damage in North Idaho on 7th Street near the Coeur d'Alene Town Center. You can see a tree snapped from the base and fell onto power lines. Wind speeds in the area reached over 50 miles per hour. Roads were closed for several hours as well while crews worked to restore power to that community. Meanwhile, Silver Mountain remained closed today for a second day in a row. The North Idaho Ski Resort says this is because of the extreme weather, mainly the high winds. Silver Rapids Indoor Water Park at the resort is still open. Silver Mountain says they'll continue to monitor the weather and decide if they need to remain closed. Well, we've been dealing with the strong wind since last night, but it looks like things should be quieting down by tonight. Meteorologist Michelle Boss is in the Weather Center with the details. Michelle, how much longer will this windy weather stick around?
It's going to continue to be breezy through this evening, but the strongest winds were seen in the Spokane and Coeur d'Alene area early this morning. Here's a look at some of the peak wind gusts, over 50 miles per hour in both Spokane and Coeur d'Alene, and just under 50 miles per hour at the Pullman Airport and the Lewiston Airport. We're seeing sustained winds right now in the 15 to 25 mile per hour range, but those should be coming down overnight. Peak wind gust right now in the 30 to 40 mile per hour range. I don't think we're going to see any gusts over 40 for the remainder of the evening, and much lighter winds expected by tomorrow. Satellite and radar still showing mostly cloudy skies in the Spokane area. Still some lingering rain showers down across the Palouse and Lewiston, but we could see some of that rain change over to snow overnight and tomorrow morning in the Lewiston area and across the Camas Prairie. Some light accumulations of snow overnight and tomorrow morning. Much colder air moving in. We topped out in the low 50s today, currently at 43 in Spokane, 44 in Coeur d'Alene, still in the upper 40s in Moses Lake in Lewiston, but highs expected only in the 30s tomorrow. Tomorrow morning we should see temperatures in the 20s. Another cold day on Monday with highs in the mid-30s, and we could see some snow return to the Spokane. Spokane area Tuesday night into Wednesday. Highs on Tuesday in the mid-30s.
Breaking news tonight, police say the 2 men accused of this month's shooting in downtown Seattle have been caught. Authorities say Marquise Tolbert and William Tolliver fled to Las Vegas where they were arrested. A third suspect, Jamal Jackson, was also arrested earlier this month in Seattle. They are accused of killing one woman and injuring 6 others. Court records tell us all 3 men have ties to gangs in Western Washington. Well, the question still stands tonight. Where are these 2 children, 7-year-old JJ Vallow and 17-year-old Tylee Ryan? And what happens to their mother, Lori Vallow? Vallow missed the deadline to physically show her kids to the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare. We're also now hearing from Vallow's other son for the first time since that deadline passed, 23-year-old Colby Ryan. He posted this video to YouTube.
I just feel like ignored. I feel angry. I feel like I'm so confused, and I'm still trying to just go on every single day.
23-year-old Colby Ryan speaking out on YouTube less than 24 hours after his mom, Lori Vallow, failed to physically bring his siblings, 17-year-old Tylee Ryan and 7-year-old JJ Vallow, to the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare or the Rexburg Police Department.
Last night, I thought I would feel better by some type of answer. If anything, it just made everything worse.
Tylee and JJ have been missing since September. But earlier this week, police found their mom, Lori Vallow, and her new husband, Chad Daybell, in Hawaii.
I feel like I've just lost everything in such a short amount of time. The only reason I'm doing this is because I feel like this is the only way I get to talk to you.
On Thursday, JJ's grandmother told KTVB the couple was still in Hawaii. A judge must now decide what happens next and what charges Lori could potentially face.
I want you to show them and step up and just do the right thing. And that's what I've been praying for. And that's all I want right now. That's all I want, is to see the kids and for this situation to have some type of closure.
In the nearly 13-minute YouTube video, Colby not only addressed his mom, but Lori's ex-husband, Charles Vallow, who was killed in July prior to the disappearance of JJ and Tylee.
I didn't really get a chance to process that for a long time. I felt like it wasn't real. And obviously seeing, you being gone physically, that was probably the hardest and worst thing ever. You did everything you could for me. You taught me a lot.
He also had a message for his siblings.
Tylee and JJ, if somehow you guys hear this, I love you guys so much. Whew, okay, hold on. I love you guys so much. I care about you guys so much. I miss you.
Lori and her new husband, Chad Daybell, are in Hawaii. Police found them earlier this week in Hawaii with no sign of their children. A judge will decide what happens next and what charges Lori could potentially face. On to sports now. If you're a Gonzaga fan, the men's basketball game today probably had your heart beating pretty fast. The Zags barely edged out the San Francisco on the road today, 83-79. Karthik Venkatraman joining us now to tell us how they escaped this upset. Karthik.
Yeah, the Zags had to show some real toughness in this one as they trailed in the final moments of this game. But there was some big-time plays from GU to put the Dons away. Down 1 with 1:38 to go. Corey Kispert from the top of the three-point line drives, fouled, and one, puts the Zags up 2 a little later. Kispert going to be working near the baseline. He's going to pull up for the turnaround jumper. Tough shot, good again. The Zags led by 4, but they're not out of the woods yet. Khalil Shabazz a little later on hits a three-pointer, and the Zags lead would come down to 2. GU would need to hit some free throws to put this game away, which they really haven't done well this season. But Admon Gilder steps up to the line, knocks in 2, and seals the 83-79 win. How did this game even get so close, you might ask? Well, it did not help them that this team was without Killian Tilly today due to that ankle sprain against Santa Clara. The team was on a 6-man rotation, but besides that, they were not sharp early, had some really sloppy turnovers. They let up a lot of second chance points to the Dons. Overall, just wasn't a pretty performance early on from GU. In the second half, it seemed like every player who played for Gonzaga was in foul trouble, and well, that was because that was actually the case. Admon Gilder's the only guy who played significant minutes that didn't have 3 or more fouls. 4 players were 1 foul away from fouling out in this contest for Gonzaga. but the Zags were steadied by 4 guys. Filip Petrusev picked up right where he left off against Santa Clara, where he had a career-high 31 points, had 23 today, and really led the Zags early through some of those trying times as they came back in this one. He's probably going to be West Coast Conference Player of the Week for his performance this week. In the second half, Drew Timme, Joel Ayayi, and Corey Kispert really came up big for the Zags. Timme finished with a career-high 19 points and really helped out with Tilly out. Ayayi scored 10 of his 12 in the second half. Hit some big threes along the way, and you saw Kispert make those 2 big buckets at the end of the game. He scored all of his 11 points in the second half, which was pretty nice because there was a game and a half stretch there where he wasn't really playing all that great. So Gonzaga escapes, stays unbeaten in conference play, and moves on unscathed. The Zags host Loyola Marymount this Thursday at home at 8 p.m., Tim.
All right, Karthik, thanks so much.